How's it going? This is Mystical Ariel here to shake the matrix, expand our minds, and, of course, make us all think, that kind of stuff. I like to blow our minds a little bit like that. So, we're here this morning. Now, give me a second. I'm going to share this with some people, all right? Just because we know it's good and important. All right. And one more. Couple more. Oh, my goodness. There we go. Let you guys gather. And all of that jank. And alive, and we're going to get started. So, we're talking today, part 2, about boundaries. And grand risings to all of you that are joining us this morning. If you're watching this later on and it's the afternoon, good afternoon. And if you're watching this later on and it's evening, good evening. The one beautiful thing that I know is that time is nothing but a human construct. So no matter what, you're going to get this. And you're going to get it because it was meant for you to have. That you were seeking this. You were looking for this information. So we're going to talk about boundaries, integrity, and the lion of truth. So good morning, all you beloved ones, and welcome. So today, as we step into this new day, into this breath, into this sacred moment, I want to continue the journey we began in the Awaken, the Ancient Ones, remember the original design, and Awaken, the Lion Escapes the Matrix. So yesterday, for those of you who joined, we talked about awakening from the illusion of remembering who we truly are. And today, part 2, well, we step into something just as important. You see, boundaries, integrity, honor, and the lion frequencies, and reclaiming the ground of your soul. Because basically, this, guys, without boundaries, we are not standing in love. We are standing actually in fear. Can you imagine that? Wait, what? So when you're being a people pleaser, you're standing in fear. When you're doing what everyone else wants you to do, but not doing what you're called to do, you're standing in fear. And let me tell you something, that without boundaries, you won't find peace. Trust me. That mind will continue to spin. That brain that you can't get to settle down, those things that you can't get to just rest. Without boundaries, we are not in peace. We are in people-pleasing mode, performance mode, and that's not good for anyone. Let me just do a quick share out here to a couple, so I'm not lost. But let's get going. So we already talked that without boundaries, we are not in peace, and we are in people-pleasing mode. Well, the other thing is this. Here's another thing. You're going to be like, what? You're going to be shocked. But without boundaries, we're not free. What? Yeah, you're a slave. You're a slave to everybody else's expectation. And you're a people pleaser, so you're a slave to people pleasing. You're not free. We're imprisoned by expectations of others when we are people pleasing and when we are not having boundaries. And why do boundaries matter? In science, spirit, and in the human psyche. In biology, every living cell has a membrane. That membrane is intelligence, and it knows what to allow in and what must remain out. A cell without a membrane dies, and a soul without boundaries collapses. This is not just science, guys. It is also mystical law. Your boundaries is your membrane, and it is your spiritual immune system. And it is the lioness and the lion around her cubs. It is the earth protecting her sacred places. And you know when their boundaries have been crossed, you feel them. Even in nature, boundaries, rivers have banks, mountains have edges, ecosystems have limits. Everything that remains healthy, whole, and alive has a boundary. So why do humans believe we are bad for having them? Why do people feel guilty for saying no? Why do people apologize for protecting their peace? Because in this simulation, we were programmed to be compliant, not conscious. To be agreeable, not authentic. To be quiet, not sovereign. But you have awakened. You are not here to be agreeable. You are here to be true. Let me speak plainly for a second. When we live without boundaries, we are not living. We are performing. We become actors in someone else's story. What also is we say yes when our soul is screaming no. We sacrifice our peace to avoid discomfort. We shrink so others can expand. And slowly, slowly we disappear inside ourselves. See, people pleasing is not kindness, it is self-abandonment. People pleasing tells the world, I can only exist if you allow it. That belief is a prison. And many of you have lived there. I lived there. I was programmed there. Until my awakening, until my death, my rebirth, and the vision in return, I wrote in Return to Eden, showed me the truth. See, your peace cannot come from someone else's approval. How's it going? Your freedom cannot come from their permission. Your authenticity cannot come from their comfort. And when we stop honoring our boundaries, we shut down. We lose our voice. We lose our power. We lose our connection to our divine spark. And when we break our own word, we shut down too. That's right. Not only do we shut down when we do what other people want us to do, but when we say a yes and we walk away from that yes, we shut down too, because we no longer trust ourselves. Trust is a big thing. Honor, integrity, and sacred weight of a yes. One of the deepest lessons I want to bring into this second part is this. Boundaries are not just about expecting others to honor ours. They are also about honoring theirs and honoring our own word and commitments. When someone says yes, they create an energetic bond, a thread of trust, commitment. And when someone later withdraws without communication, when they give their word and then vanish, do they not just break the commitment, they break the energetic field of honor. A yes is sacred. A no is sacred. And this is an ancient indigenous law. This is in agnostic's truth. This is in alignment of the self with the self. This is natural law. This is spiritual adulthood. In Awaken, the lion escapes the matrix. The lion is the one who holds peace with fierce love. Not aggression, fierce love. Love that guides. Love that stands firm. Love that says, my yes is my yes. My no is my no. Because without integrity, there is no foundation. Without integrity, a community cannot stand. Without integrity, a relationship cannot thrive. Without integrity, a soul cannot evolve. So this week, this weekend, I faced a moment that revealed the truth of boundaries and honor more clearly than ever. And when someone steps into a circle, we have declared sacred. When they step onto land, we honor. When they insult my First Nations ancestors, when they attempt to take ancient sacred artifacts, when they refuse to pick up their trash, and when 3 Native brothers and sisters stand beside each other and say, no, this is our space of peace. That is not a moment to waver. This is a moment where the lion rises, not to harm, not to fight, but to protect. No, you may not join my live stream. And boundaries are not unkind. They are courage. Boundaries are not separation. They are clarity. And boundaries are not aggression. They are guardianship. See, there's moments that one must rise, like the lion must rise. Not to harm, not to fight, but to protect. Because like I said, boundaries are not aggression. They are guardianship. And boundaries are not unkind, they are courage. Boundaries are not separation, they are clarity. See, the thing is, when these insults came to our nation's people, we decided to hold the line after asking them to remove themselves. Because we honor land, we honored our ancestors, and we honored the circle, and we honored our peace. See, this is what fierce love looks like. This is what spiritual maturity looks like. This is what sovereignty looks like. Sometimes it has to rise and say, hey, what the heck? See, boundaries demand authenticity, and authenticity demands that we face our shadows. Shadow work is not glamorous. It is uncomfortable. It reveals where we are of alignment, where we are out of alignment. It reveals where we are lying to ourselves. And it reveals where we have abandoned ourselves for others. See, many people avoid boundaries because boundaries reveal their wounds, their unhealed parts, their fears of rejection, their childhood conditioning. But listen, your soul will always whisper the truth first. And when you ignore it, it will get louder. And when you silence it, it will shake your life until you listen. See, boundaries are not punishment. They are healing. Choosing yourself is not selfish. It is sacred. Choosing yourself does not mean neglecting others. It means abandoning yourself, choosing yourself. It means not abandoning yourself. Choosing yourself means protecting your peace and trusting your intuition, honoring your needs, living in truth, not allowing chaos at the gate. See, a person who is at peace gives the world their best self, not their broken one. You cannot pour an empty soul. You cannot love from an abandoned heart. And you cannot lead from a place of fear. Choosing yourself is choosing truth. So as we close in part 2 here of this teaching this morning, let me leave you with this. You were not born to be a people pleaser. You were born to be a sovereign soul. You were born to be a guardian of your own peace. And you were born to walk with honor. You were born to let your yes be your yes and your no be your no. You were born to choose authenticity over approval. And you were born to awaken again and again into deeper truth. This is the journey of awaken. This is the journey back to Eden. And this is a journey into your original design. This is right here. Welcome to the Lion Frequencies. A bunch of these questions are totally irrelevant. So I'm not I'm glad you like my tattoos. My age does not matter. Alright. Well, make sure you do one thing towards your dreams every single day. It brings you one step closer. Make sure you recognize you're valuable and you matter and you're all unique puzzle pieces, a part of your ultimate puzzle of the cosmos. Peace and love.